your cursed book. I don't need your God or your money.
Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we begin, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that button, you're helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, tell us where you're watching from, because together, we are not just telling stories. We are keeping hope alive. The church bells rang loud and proud, echoing across the city. Cars lined up outside the grand wedding hall, luxury vehicles gleaming under the sun. Guests dressed in designer gowns and expensive suits walked in with wide smiles, holding their phones high to capture every moment. Inside, the hall sparkled like a palace. Gold decorations, crystal chandeliers, roses arranged in towering vases. It was the kind of wedding people would talk about for years. My daughter Emily had always dreamed of this day, and her new husband, Daniel, made sure it looked extravagant. I stood near the front, hands folded, watching my only daughter with mixed feelings. I had raised Emily alone after my husband passed away many years ago. I worked day and night, building my business from nothing until I became one of the wealthiest women in the state. But no matter how much money I made, I never forgot my faith. To me, success meant nothing without wisdom and humility. Emily, however, was different. From her teenage years, she craved luxury, attention, and recognition. She always wanted to outshine everyone else. And now, in her glittering white gown with diamonds sewn into the fabric, she looked like a queen. I smiled faintly, though my heart carried a quiet fear. Daniel stood beside her, handsome and sharp in his tuxedo. His smile was charming, but to me, it was the kind of smile that never reached the eyes. I had my doubts about him. He was known for arrogance, and his family flaunted their money as if humility was beneath them. Still, I prayed that Emily would find happiness. The reception was filled with laughter, music, and endless toasts. Waiters moved around with trays of champagne, and guests clapped as Emily and Daniel danced for the first time as husband and wife. Cameras flashed. Videos streamed live. When it was time for gifts, guests came forward with expensive packages. Gold jewelry, keys to new cars, a check from Daniel's parents worth $1 million. The crowd cheered at every gift. Then came my turn. I walked slowly to the center of the hall, my dark blue dress simple compared to the glittering outfits around me. I held a small leather-bound Bible in my hands. It looked old but well kept, the kind that carried more than just words. It carried memories, prayers, and faith. The hall grew quiet. Everyone expected the mother of the bride to bring something grand. A mansion deed, perhaps, or another fat check that would make Daniel's parents jealous. Instead, I stretched my hands toward Emily, offering her the Bible. "Emily," I said softly, my voice trembling yet firm, "this is my gift to you, my daughter. Inside these pages lies the blessing I want to give you, both for your marriage and your future. This Bible has guided me through my hardest days. May it now guide you." Emily blinked, then frowned. "A Bible?" "Yes," I replied, my voice breaking slightly. "It is more than what it seems. Please, keep it close." Daniel leaned closer to her, Sly whispering loudly enough for those nearby to hear. "Babe, are you serious? Your mom brought you a Bible on your wedding day?" Some of his friends chuckled. The guests began to murmur. Emily's eyes narrowed. She took the Bible, held it for a moment, then looked at me with cold eyes. "This is what you brought me? A book?" My hands shook. I tried to speak, but Emily's voice rose, cutting through the hall like a blade. "Keep your Bible, Mother. I don't need your God or your old-fashioned lessons." Gasps filled the room. Before I could explain, Emily threw the Bible to the ground. It landed with a loud thud, sliding across the polished floor. Guests stared in shock. Some covered their mouths. Others started laughing nervously. Daniel smirked, his arm around Emily. "We're building our own empire, Margaret. We don't need this," he said, pointing at the Bible like it was trash. The laughter grew louder. Phones were lifted again. People recorded as I stood frozen, tears filling my eyes. My face turned pale as whispers spread like wildfire. "Can you believe it?" someone whispered. "Her own daughter embarrassed her like that," another replied. I knew she was too stingy. Imagine bringing a Bible instead of money. I felt the ground spin beneath me. My body trembled. I wanted to explain, to scream. "It's not just a Bible. It carries your inheritance, Emily. It's your future. But the words stuck in my throat. Emily turned her back, laughing with her friends. Come on, Daniel. Let's move on to the real gifts. The music started again, drowning my pain. I bent down slowly, but before I could reach for the Bible, Patricia, my sister-in-law, moved quickly. With a sweet smile that fooled the crowd, she picked it up. Don't worry, Margaret. I'll hold on to this for you, Patricia said softly, but her eyes gleamed with something darker. I nodded weakly, unable to see through the act. I stepped back, disappearing into the shadows of the hall while everyone else celebrated. My daughter had mocked my faith, rejected my blessing, and humiliated me before the world. And only Patricia noticed the weight of the Bible in her hands. She knew there was more to it than anyone else realized. The Bible still lay in Patricia's hands, its leather cover warm as though it carried more than just paper. She clutched it tightly, her lips curved in a faint smile. Nobody noticed her expression because all eyes were still on Emily, glowing in her wedding dress, laughing with Daniel and their friends as though nothing had happened. I stood frozen near the center of the hall. My heart pounded in my chest, my face flushed with shame. I wanted to scream, to beg my daughter to pick up the Bible, to open it, to see the truth inside. But the voices of the crowd drowned out my thoughts. Did you see that? One woman whispered loudly to her friend. Imagine being given a Bible while others brought millions. What kind of mother does that? Maybe she's not as rich as she pretends, a man said, sipping his champagne. No, another replied, shaking his head. She's rich. Too rich. Maybe she's just stingy. Each word cut into my heart like a knife. I had worked my fingers to the bone all my life, not just for money, but for Emily's future. And now, in front of strangers, my love had been ridiculed. Daniel raised his glass, smirking. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your wonderful gifts. My wife and I appreciate everything, especially gifts that truly matter. His eyes flicked toward me, and the crowd laughed again. My knees weakened. I stumbled toward a chair at the edge of the hall. A few older women from my church rushed to my side. Sister Margaret, please don't cry, one whispered, touching my hand. Let the children do what they want. God sees everything, another added softly, but I could not hear them. Tears blurred my vision as I looked at Emily, my only child, the one I carried through storms, the one I prayed over night and day. And now she was smiling at Daniel as if I no longer existed. Patricia walked past quietly, the Bible tucked in her purse now. She leaned down near my ear. Don't worry, dear sister, she said sweetly. It's just a book. Emily's young. She doesn't understand. I looked at her, confused, but nodded faintly. Patricia straightened, her eyes darting around to make sure no one else had seen her slip the Bible away. What's inside? She must have wondered. Why did Margaret insist on giving it in front of everyone? Back near the stage, Emily waved her hands dramatically. Mom has always been like this, too holy for her own good, she said to her friends, her voice loud enough to reach my ears. I don't know why she thinks we need sermons at a wedding. We're building our lives with real money, not prayers. The girls around her giggled. Daniel kissed her cheek, adding, Exactly. This is the 21st century. Wealth, power, influence. That's what matters. Not old books. More laughter followed. Guests clinked glasses and the music rose again, as if the humiliation of a mother was nothing more than a joke for entertainment. I pressed my hands together, whispering silently, Lord, give me strength. Don't let me break in front of them. Don't let me curse my own child. But my heart was breaking. I thought of my late husband, how proud he would have been to see Emily married. But now I wondered, proud of what? A daughter who mocked me? A son-in-law who disrespected my faith? My body shook with quiet sobs. I wiped my tears quickly, but more kept coming. As the evening dragged on, I became invisible. Guests avoided me, whispering behind their glasses. I heard every cruel word, every rumor, every insult. Can you imagine? A billionaire mother giving only a Bible? She could have given a mansion, or shares, or at least money, something visible. No wonder the girl despises her. I would too. Each comment pushed me deeper into silence. When the music ended and the crowd began to leave, Patricia slipped back to my side again. You should go home early, she suggested softly. Don't worry about Emily. She'll come around one day. I nodded, too weak to argue. I stood, my steps heavy, my heart shattered, Nobody noticed when I left the hall. Nobody stopped me. All eyes were still on Emily and Daniel, basking in their temporary glory. Outside, the night was cool, but I felt no relief. I sat in my car, staring at the steering wheel, tears sliding down my face. I whispered to myself, "She doesn't know. She doesn't know what she threw away." Meanwhile, inside the hall, Patricia walked briskly toward her car. She locked the doors, pulled the Bible from her purse, and placed it on her lap. Her fingers brushed the edges until she found something hidden between the pages. She froze, a folded piece of paper. Patricia's breath caught. Slowly, she pulled it out. It was a check. Her eyes widened as she read the figure. $100 million. Her hands trembled. She almost screamed, but quickly covered her mouth. Her heart pounded in excitement. "So this was Margaret's gift," she whispered to herself. "Oh, Margaret, you fool. Emily threw it away, and now—" She stopped. The check wasn't signed. Patricia bit her lip, frowning. "So it's useless. Unless—" Her eyes gleamed. She closed the Bible, clutching it tightly. "There's still a way. Margaret doesn't know I have this. Emily doesn't know what she rejected. And she smiled slowly, I might just be the only one smart enough to use it." As Patricia drove away, her laughter filled the car, low and sinister. Back at my home, I fell on my knees in the dark of my living room, clutching my hands together in prayer. I whispered through my tears, "God, I gave her love and wisdom, but she mocked me. My enemies laugh at me. My child despises me. But you see, you will fight for me." My words echoed in the empty house, and somewhere else in the city, Patricia placed the Bible carefully in a locked drawer. Her eyes burned with greed. The wedding night was over, but the storm had only just begun. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give a future to children and women who have been abused all over the world. Motivate us by subscribing and turning on your notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. Also, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from, and how did this story speak to you? When the wedding ended, I drove home in silence. The streets were alive with horns and laughter from passing cars, but inside my car, there was nothing but the sound of my heavy breathing and the quiet sobs I could not hold back. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. I had just been disgraced in front of hundreds of people. My own daughter had thrown away my gift, mocked my faith, and crushed me before strangers. At home, I slipped into the living room, collapsing on my knees. My voice cracked in prayer, though the words were broken. "Lord, you saw it all. My daughter spat at me. The world laughed at me. I don't understand why. But you see, please strengthen me. Do not let me curse her." But as I prayed, I also knew Patricia had the Bible. She picked it up with that sweet, fake smile. She thought I didn't notice, but I did. And something in her eyes told me she would not return it so easily. Later that night, when the guests had gone and the photographers packed up their cameras, Emily and Daniel retreated to their honeymoon suite. I was not there, but words travel fast in families, and some truths later reached me like poisoned arrows. "Did you see her face?" Emily laughed bitterly as she poured herself champagne. "She looked like a ghost when I threw that Bible down. Serves her right. She thinks her faith and her so-called wisdom matter in today's world. Well, I don't need her God or her pathetic little gifts." Daniel smirked, loosening his tie. "You embarrassed her in front of everyone. Bold move. I respect that. She needed to be put in her place. I mean, a Bible? On a wedding day? What was she thinking?" Emily laughed again. "She's always been like this. Preaching, praying, trying to make me walk in her shadow. Well, now she knows. I'm done living under her rules. That woman has money. Yes, but I'll build mine differently. I'll build it without her strings attached." Daniel raised his glass, clinking it against hers. "To us, then. To new money. To building an empire without bowing to anybody, even your mother." They drank, their laughter echoing in that room while my name was trampled under their feet. What hurt the most was not just Emily's mockery. It was her confession. She had married Daniel partly to spite me, to rebel against my values. She didn't marry for love. She married for defiance. And I knew then her heart had drifted too far. While Emily celebrated her rebellion and Daniel soaked in his arrogance, Patricia sat in her car that same night, her fingers trembling as she pulled the folded check from the Bible. Her eyes widened as she read the figure, $100,000. $100 million, she whispered, her breath quickening. So this was Margaret's gift. No wonder she looked so calm. She wanted to give it in a Bible to test Emily, and that foolish girl threw it away. Patricia almost screamed in delight, but then her smile faltered. She turned the check over and froze. It wasn't signed. Her jaw clenched. She tapped the paper with her finger. So, it's useless, unless I can get her signature. She closed the Bible and pressed it against her chest, whispering to herself in the dark. Emily doesn't know. Daniel doesn't know. Only I know. And that gives me power. She drove home, her mind already weaving schemes. The days after the wedding were worse than the wedding itself. Everywhere I went, whispers followed me. In the grocery store, isn't that the woman whose daughter rejected her gift? Yes. Can you believe it? A billionaire mother bringing only a Bible? At church, she could have given her daughter property, money, something grand. Why a Bible? Maybe she's stingy, hiding her wealth under religion. My name became a joke. They didn't know what was inside that Bible. They didn't know the inheritance I had hidden there. They only saw a mother humiliated, a mother mocked by her own blood. I stopped leaving the house except for essentials. My phone buzzed constantly with gossip. Some family members called, pretending to comfort me, but secretly fishing for details. I shut them out. I isolated myself, drowning in grief. At night, I lay awake replaying Emily's words. Keep your Bible, Mother. I don't need your God or your old-fashioned lessons. My heart bled with every memory. Emily and Daniel's cruelty didn't stop at the wedding. Behind closed doors, they continued to laugh about me. Daniel, lounging with his phone, chuckled. Your mom really thought she could buy our loyalty with that nonsense? You did the right thing, babe. Throwing it down showed everyone we don't need her. Emily sipped her wine, nodding. Exactly. She's always acted like she's better than everyone. Always talking about prayer, wisdom, humility. I married you to escape that cage. I'm free now. Daniel smirked. Free and rich. With me, you'll never have to depend on her again. But the truth was, their wealth was not built yet. They lived off appearances, showing off cars they could barely afford, throwing parties funded by loans and favors. Yet they paraded around as if they were kings. I later heard Emily admit to a close friend, honestly, part of me married Daniel just to hurt my mother. She wanted me to choose a humble man, someone with values. Instead, I chose the opposite. I wanted her to feel it. Those words cut deeper than any knife. Daniel's betrayal began the very night of the wedding. As Emily was taking off her gown, Daniel was already texting another woman. His phone buzzed, and Emily caught a glimpse of the message. Last night without you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. She froze. Who's that? She demanded. Daniel shrugged, grinning. Just a friend. Don't start on our wedding night. Emily's stomach turned, but she swallowed her anger. She had mocked me so publicly, defended him so strongly. How could she now admit she made a mistake? So she smiled tightly, pretending not to care. But in her heart, the seed of betrayal had already been planted. Meanwhile, Patricia polished her scheme. She had the Bible locked away in her drawer, the unsigned check hidden inside. Every night, she took it out, staring at the numbers with greedy eyes. $100 million, she whispered, running her fingers over the paper. All that power in my hands. She knew she couldn't cash it. Not yet. But she also knew secrets gave her leverage. She began calling Emily more often. At first, it was small talk. How's married life? Daniel treating you like a queen? Then the poison began. Your mother never planned to give you anything, Emily. That Bible was empty. She embarrassed you on purpose. Emily, proud and bitter, believed her. I knew it, she muttered. She's always been against me. Patricia smiled sweetly through the phone. Don't worry, dear. Some mothers never know how to let go. You focus on your new family. Forget her. She'll regret it one day. And just like that, Patricia tightened her grip. Emily trusted her more, despised me more, and drifted further away. Patricia thought she was the smartest person in the room. She didn't realize I had seen the look in her eyes at the wedding. She didn't realize the check was never meant to be spendable. It was a test of hearts, not a gift of wealth. But for now, I stayed silent. For now, I endured the whispers, the humiliation, the isolation. Because I knew storms revealed true faces. And the masks were already beginning to fall. The months after the wedding were like a slow poison spreading through my veins. Each day, I woke with a heaviness that refused to leave, a weight I carried in silence. I had prayed, wept, and begged God for comfort, and though He gave me strength to endure, the shame of that day clung to me like a scar that would not fade. The whispers in the community had not died down. Instead, they grew louder. Every time I went to the market, I felt eyes burning into me, and I heard the cruel words people thought I could not hear. There goes the mother who gave her daughter a Bible as a wedding gift. She's rich but stingy. I don't blame her daughter for rejecting her. I heard the girl hasn't spoken to her mother since. Serves the old woman right. Each word pierced my heart, but I kept my silence. My lips did not curse my daughter, though my heart cried out in pain. I knew time would reveal truth. Time always does. It did not take long for Emily's fairy tale to begin crumbling. At first, she paraded her new life all over social media, posting pictures of expensive dinners, trips in fancy cars, and nights at lavish clubs with Daniel by her side. People praised her, envied her, and said she had made the perfect choice. But I saw through the pictures. I saw the emptiness in her eyes, the way her smile never quite reached her soul. One evening, I heard through a relative that Emily had caught Daniel with another woman. Not once, not twice, but openly, as though he did not care. She had walked into a hotel lobby and seen him there, arms around a younger woman, whispering into her ear. Emily, humiliated, confronted him right there. "Daniel, what is this?" she had demanded, her voice shaking. He turned, his face calm, even amused. "What does it look like?" "I'm your wife," she cried. Daniel smirked. "You're my wife, yes. But what did you bring into this marriage?" "Nothing. Not money, not property, not even that stupid Bible your mother tried to give you." Emily's face turned pale. "You dare talk to me like this?" "I dare," Daniel sneered, "because I know the truth. Without me, you're nothing. You came into this marriage empty-handed. And don't fool yourself. Your mother doesn't care about you. She made that clear when she embarrassed you in front of the whole world." Those words broke her. She walked out that night, but she did not walk away from the marriage. Her pride would not allow her to admit she had chosen wrong. Instead, she began to drink, heavily. Every day, bottles of wine and whiskey replaced her meals. Her once glamorous life became filled with arguments, shouting, and slammed doors. I watched from a distance, powerless to intervene. Patricia, however, saw opportunity. She began visiting Emily often, pretending to be her comforter. "My dear, I warned you about your mother," Patricia would whisper, holding Emily's trembling hands. "That Bible was nothing. She never intended to give you anything. It was a show, a humiliation." Emily's eyes would darken. I knew it. I felt it. She's always been like this, acting holy, pretending to love me, but secretly trying to control me. Patricia leaned closer. "Exactly. Don't let her guilt you. She never wanted you to shine. That's why she gave you a worthless book. She's bitter, jealous of your youth, your beauty, your freedom." And Emily, blinded by pride and poisoned by Patricia's words, believed every lie. Meanwhile, Patricia kept the Bible locked away. She never mentioned the check inside. She held it like a weapon, waiting for the perfect time to strike. I kept silent, but I was not blind. I knew Patricia had the Bible. I knew Emily now avoided me like a plague. And I knew Daniel's heart was never with my daughter. But what Patricia did not know was that the check inside the Bible was a test, not a gift. It had no signature. It had no value unless I gave it. It was never meant to be spent. It was meant to reveal hearts. And in just a few short months, it revealed everything I had feared. Emily's pride, Daniel's greed, Patricia's envy. I watched quietly, though my soul ached. I did not rush to rescue Emily. I did not defend myself against Patricia's lies. I let them move deeper into their schemes because I knew truth always rises and lies always choke those who speak them. 3 months into the marriage, Emily finally saw the depth of Daniel's betrayal. He was not only with one woman, he was with many. His phone was filled with messages, pictures, and hotel bookings. He did not even hide it anymore. When Emily confronted him again, her voice shaking with rage, Daniel laughed. "You think you're enough for me?" he said coldly. "You brought nothing into this marriage. No money, no inheritance, not even your mother's blessing. You're a decoration, Emily. A pretty face I take to parties. Nothing more." Emily slapped him, tears streaming down her face. But Daniel only laughed louder, walking out with his car keys. That night, Emily sat alone, broken. But instead of turning to me, She turned to her wine. And when Patricia arrived the next morning, Emily poured her heart out, desperate for comfort. Patricia stroked her hair like a loving aunt, but her words dripped with venom. You see, my dear, your mother never gave you anything. That Bible was worthless. She planned this. She wanted you to suffer. She is a bitter, manipulative woman. Don't waste your tears on her. Emily sobbed harder, clutching Patricia as if she were her savior. And Patricia smiled. The months dragged on, and Emily spiraled deeper. The glamorous wife people once envied became a shadow of herself. Her face grew pale, her eyes sunken from sleepless nights. Her friends drifted away, tired of her drunken rants and constant fights. Debt piled up as Daniel siphoned money for his affairs. He sold jewelry she had been gifted at the wedding. He borrowed in her name, leaving her with unpaid bills. And each time Emily tried to confront him, he silenced her with the same cruel words. You're worthless without me. Even your mother proved that when she gave you nothing. Emily began lashing out at everyone. She fought with friends, screamed at maids, and cursed strangers. Her once admiring circle turned their backs. Slowly, she became isolated, mocked, and pitied. I heard all of it. Relatives whispered it to me. Friends tried to console me. Some even mocked me again. Look at her daughter now. Maybe she should have given her money instead of a Bible. But I stayed silent. I cried at night. Yes. I begged God for mercy. Yes. But I also knew this storm had a purpose. My daughter had mocked wisdom and trampled on love. Now life itself was teaching her the lessons she refused to hear from me. Patricia grew bolder. With Emily broken and vulnerable, she became the voice in her ear every day. Don't run back to your mother, she would whisper. She'll only gloat. She'll only remind you that you rejected her. Emily nodded through tears. I don't need her. I'll never crawl back. Patricia smiled. Good. You have me now. I'll guide you. I'll protect you. Trust me, my dear. I'm all you need. But I knew Patricia's heart. I knew she was not helping Emily. She was feeding her pride, keeping her blind, waiting for her own chance to strike. I did not expose her yet. I did not confront her. Because sometimes the best way to unmask a liar is to let them speak long enough. And Patricia was speaking. Every day, I watched my daughter sink lower, while Patricia tightened her hold. Every day, I heard of Daniel's betrayals, his arrogance, his cruelty, and every day, I stayed silent. People thought I was weak. They thought I had been defeated. But inside, a fire was growing. I knew the time would come when all masks would fall, when all secrets would be exposed. And when that day came, the truth would not only clear my name, it would destroy the very foundations of the lies they had built. For now, I waited. I waited, and I prayed. And as Emily drowned in her own pride, as Patricia sharpened her poison, and as Daniel boasted in his sin, I kept my eyes on God, knowing the storm was not the end. It was only the beginning. It had been nearly a year since the wedding, a year of humiliation, whispers, and mockery, a year of watching my only daughter slip into destruction while Patricia tightened her claws and Daniel paraded his arrogance like a crown. I kept silent all that time. I let them laugh. I let them think they had won. People said I was weak, that I was broken, that I had been crushed beyond repair. But what they did not know was that silence can be sharper than a sword. Patience can be a weapon. And truth, when revealed at the right moment, can cut deeper than any lie ever could. So I waited, I prayed, and when the time was right, I acted. I invited them all, Emily, Daniel, and Patricia, to a family dinner at my house. I told them it was time to reconcile, time to sit as a family again. I told them I wanted peace. They agreed, each for their own reasons. Emily came because she was broken, though she hid it under layers of pride. Her marriage was crumbling, her reputation in ruins, her friends gone. But she still wanted to prove she did not need me. Daniel came because he smelled opportunity. He thought maybe I was ready to finally hand over money, to buy his loyalty and silence. Patricia came with a smug smile, convinced she was in control. She had the Bible. She had the secret. She believed she held the power. They walked into my home one by one, and tension filled the air like smoke. I greeted them calmly, though my heart raced. Emily barely met my eyes. Daniel smirked as though the whole evening amused him. Patricia hugged me with that fake sweetness that made my skin crawl. We sat around the table. The food was untouched. Silence stretched thick between us until I finally spoke. "Thank you all for coming," I began, my voice steady. I have called this dinner because it is time for truth to be revealed. For too long, lies have ruled this family. Tonight, the masks will fall." Daniel chuckled. "Masks? Margaret, what are you talking about? We came here for peace. Let's not ruin it with—" "Silence," I said sharply, cutting him off. My voice carried an authority none of them expected. "You will listen. All of you." Their eyes widened. Emily shifted uncomfortably. Patricia forced a smile. I stood slowly, reached for the remote on the table, and pressed play. The TV screen on the wall flickered to life. The room fell into silence as footage began to play. It was the wedding. The Bible. Emily's sneer. Her voice shouting, "Keep your Bible, Mother." The laughter of the guests. My humiliation. Every detail was captured. Emily's face drained of color as she watched herself mock me in front of hundreds. The video paused, and I pressed play again. This time, the footage shifted. Patricia, slipping quietly to the stage, picking up the Bible, hiding it in her purse. The camera angle was perfect. Her hand froze mid-frame on the screen, guilty and exposed. Patricia gasped. "Where did you get this?" I turned to her, my eyes sharp. "Did you really think you were clever? Did you think no one saw you that day?" The hall was filled with cameras. Every move was recorded. You exposed yourself the moment you touched what was not yours. Her face turned pale. She stuttered, searching for words, but none came. Emily stared at her aunt in shock. "Patricia, you took the Bible?" Patricia's lips trembled. I was just trying to keep it safe." "Enough lies," I snapped. "You found the check inside, didn't you? $100 million. Your hands shook with greed. You thought you had stolen something powerful, but you did not know the truth." I turned to Emily now, my eyes soft but steady. "My daughter, that check was unsigned. It was never valid. It was a test of your heart. I wanted to see if you valued wisdom over wealth. I wanted to see if you could respect the gift of faith, or if you would trample it. And you showed the world your answer." Emily's mouth opened, but no words came. Tears welled in her eyes. I did not stop. The fire in my chest burned too hot. "You mocked me, Emily. You mocked your mother, the woman who carried you, who worked her hands to the bone to give you the life you enjoy. You humiliated me before strangers, spat at my faith, and laughed at the very blessing meant to protect you. And what did you gain? Misery, betrayal, an empty house filled with bottles and tears." Her lips trembled. She covered her face with her hands, sobbing quietly. I turned to Daniel. He smirked as if none of this touched him. But I was ready. I pulled out a folder and tossed it onto the table. The papers spilled out, hotel receipts, photographs, screenshots of messages. Daniel's face appeared again and again, with woman after woman, betrayal after betrayal. "Do you deny it?" I asked coldly. Daniel leaned back, his smirk fading. "So what if I don't? Emily knows what she married. She brought nothing into this marriage, not money, not inheritance, not even your blessing. She's just a pretty face I take to parties." Emily gasped, staring at him in disbelief. Her tears turned to rage. "Daniel, how could you? How could I?" he snapped, standing now. "How could I not? You're nothing without me. And your mother made sure of that when she gave you nothing." I slammed my hand on the table. "Enough. You dare speak of nothing? I gave you both everything. But pride made you blind, greed made you foolish, and arrogance made you cruel." The room shook with my words. Patricia sank into her chair, speechless. Daniel's face twisted with anger. Emily sobbed harder, her world crashing down. I stood tall, my voice firm. "You all thought that Bible carried wealth, but it carried something more dangerous. It carried a mirror to your souls. And what did it reveal? Emily, it revealed your pride. Daniel, your greed and lust. Patricia, your envy. Not one of you valued wisdom. Not one of you valued truth. And for that you have all reaped misery." Silence filled the room. My heart pounded, but I was not done. I reached for another envelope and placed it on the table. "Here is the final truth. The inheritance you mocked, the fortune you trampled, it is not gone. It was never in the Bible. It is secured in my name, untouched. You never had it. You never could." Patricia's face twisted with rage. Emily gasped. Daniel cursed under his breath. I looked straight at Emily. My voice softened, though the weight of my words pressed down like thunder. "The Bible you threw away carried nothing more than a reflection of your soul. You proved you were not ready. You proved you could not be trusted, and that is why you sit here broken." Emily fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. "Mother, Please, forgive me. I was blind. I was foolish. I let pride destroy me. Please give me another chance. I closed my eyes for a moment, the tears finally slipping down my cheeks. Emily, I forgive you. You are my daughter. I will always forgive you. But forgiveness is not the same as inheritance. You must rebuild your life on your own now. My wealth will not be your crutch. She wept louder, clutching at my dress, but I gently pulled away. Daniel scoffed, slamming his chair back. You're all pathetic. Keep your forgiveness, keep your inheritance. I don't need any of you. He stormed out, the sound of the door slamming echoing through the house. Patricia tried to speak, but the words failed her. She knew her schemes were exposed, her lies unmasked. Slowly, she slipped out, her head hanging low. I knew her reputation would never recover. The family would hear of this. Her poison would be silenced. Only Emily remained, broken at my feet, her tears soaking the floor. I bent down, touching her hair softly. My child, wisdom is greater than wealth. Pride destroys. Betrayal always comes back to haunt. Money tests hearts, but only wisdom protects them. Learn this, and you will rise again. I stood, leaving her there to weep. That night, I wrote new documents. I redirected millions to orphanages, to scholarships, to the poor. The inheritance that could have been Emily's became a blessing to strangers. And as I signed the papers, I whispered, the truest inheritance is the one you do not throw away. The storm had ended. Justice had spoken. And I, the woman who was mocked, stood taller than ever before.